Well, for our third question, I want to talk about after the interview, after you've got the offer, when you show up as a summer, because there's still a job to get hired once you're a summer to get that full-time offer. And this
you show up in your bathing suit, right?
Well, I mean, look, well, let's not talk about my summer experience. So the third question is about Samuel L. Summer, who is an excellent law student and a very hard worker, but he's also kind of shy. And Sam recognizes the importance of making connections at the firm, but he doesn't really want to attend every one of those optional summer events and lunches, and has opted to kind of keep a lower profile and rely on his work product for the summer to secure a job. How would you rate Sam's strategy? And this time let's start with David, because you're probably the sort of person taking folks to lunch.
Sure. You know, it's a very broad description of what his activities are, but I'd give it sort of a pass to fail-ish pass, depending on how engaged or disengaged he is. It's very hard to stand on your written work product alone as a summer, just because you produce very little of it, and you don't know very much, frankly, as a 2L law summer. I mean, you're learning quickly, and your work shows promise or potential. When it comes to that hiring meeting at the end of the summer, everybody's going to remember you from who you were around the office and your ability to relate to clients, to relate to your peers, and to relate to other people around the office. You know, can you relate to the paralegals and the secretaries and the assistants? These are all skills that law firms are looking for. So if your strategy is to go hole yourself up in your office and never get out, that's probably not a winning strategy. If, you know, there's something on a Wednesday night and, you know, you're really tired, you're exhausted, you don't want to go to that one particular event, yeah, don't sweat it. But don't, you know, not go to lunches ever, not go to summer events ever. You know, obviously, look, if something is at a winery and you don't drink, totally fine to not go. Also totally fine to go and just not partake. You know, whatever you're most comfortable with, but be part of the summer program. The law firm is looking for soft skills about relating to other people, relating to clients, relating to your peers. And this is one way that those are evaluated. I mean, a summer is partially just a long interview. And so being ready is going to be a key step for summer employees.
What if the guy just knows that he's a tool, you know, and he's just trying to like minimize the amount of exposure he has on his weak flanks and trying to focus exposure on his strong flanks, which might well be the written work. I mean, you, as a lawyer, you must know some really socially awkward, kind of painfully socially awkward people who you don't want to spend time with in a winery or at a bar or at a game after work.
Yeah, no, I hear you completely, Ellie. I mean, to go to the tool point, my wife is actually friends with Tucker Max, who famously imploded in his Silicon Valley summer.
There's a tool.
Exactly. I mean, you know, obviously there's more going on than the public story, but, you know, you don't want to be that guy either. For people who are just watching, he went out, he got drunk more or less every night with law firm partners and associates and ended up not getting an offer. He actually got fired during the summer and was one of very few people to do that. But to your point, you know, maybe socializing at a baseball game isn't your strength. Try and find an activity that you do enjoy. You know, if playing around to golf is your thing, go do that. If playing, you know, going to a basketball game is your thing, go do that. Whatever it is, find the thing that's your strength that allows you to interact with your peers, your colleagues in a social setting, and show that, you know what, maybe in a big crowd it's not your thing, but there is some context where you're going to excel. Find that and stick to it.
Well, Nicole, what do you think about this question?
So I think Sam's strategy is more low pass. And as David said, you know, the summer program really is, it's a 10-week or 8-week, 12-week interview. And there are hard skills and soft skills that the firm is trying to assess over that time. And your written product is really only part of that. We call it sort of the pizza test. But, you know, is this summer associate someone who you want to work late in the office with and get pizza or beer or whatever? You can change it to any test you want. But the reality is you have to work closely with these people. And so you want to be able to sort of assess their, you know, personality a bit. Recognizing that, you know, in any summer class, there are a variety of different personalities and interests and strengths. And I always have summer associates who either there's always summer associates who don't drink. There's summer associates who are more interested in athletic events versus going to the opera or a show. And so, most summer programs will cater to a variety of different interests. And so my advice to Sam would be attend the events that you are interested in, and if you're not going to all the events, make a very thoughtful and strategic way about attending the events you're interested in. So if you do like baseball, don't just go to the game, sit next to a partner and talk to them about their practice. One thing that I would advise Sam to do, if he's not going to a lot of events, he should be mindful of the fact that at the end of the summer, when firms are making offer decisions, it's always helpful to have a partner or two speak up on your behalf as a summer associate. And if you have made an impact, both personally as well as in your work product, on a handful of partners, that's great. And unfortunately, work product alone isn't always the way to do that, because you may have turned in a great memo, but the partner may never read that, in all honesty. It might only be an associate who's reviewing it. And the partner may see it and say, oh, he did a good job. But you really want to be able to have someone who can speak to your written work as well as how you interact with people. And I guess my last point is, some of this is perception, but the idea of teamwork and being a team player and being flexible, those are all things that are really important in a big law firm. And someone who isn't interested in hanging out or going to events, it could lead to the perception that they are not a team player and they're not interested in getting to know people. And you can pick and choose. You don't have to go to every event every week. But I would advise Sam to go to at least a handful of things and really be thoughtful about the ones he chooses, and when he's there, make the most of his time and talk to partners and associates.
Okay. Well, on that note, I want to thank everybody for taking part in the panel. This has been illuminating, and I want to encourage folks to vote on the answers to these questions and share your insights in the comments for the benefit of all the pre-laws out there who might be watching to figure out what's going on. Thanks, everybody.